Fair with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody? How you doing today? The end of that intro where he talks about people making the difference in America and making America great again. What we're seeing are some people who don't want to make America great again. We knew there was plenty of them on the left, but we didn't know how many of them were on the right, who are seemingly so part of the swamp that all they care about is their own butts. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't really care who's the president. All they want to do is make sure their pockets are continually lined in their self-interest and their lobbyists and donors' self-interest. Trump is going to have to find a way to fight through it. But more importantly, what we're seeing right now happening throughout the media is a bunch of people in the media and in politics doing just that, looking to save their own behinds. I've never seen so much talk about pardons in all of my life. I think a lot of people are getting a civics lesson in real time. You are seeing firsthand the stuff that America didn't like talking about. And now Democrats are looking for wholesale life jackets. I've been making the analogy of the Titanic and that there's only so many seats in a lifeboat. But at this point, they seem to think that the lifeboat is, there are many of them. They don't care. Just keep throwing as many people into the lifeboat as you possibly can. In essence, what I believe is happening is the absolute destruction in real time, in plain view, of the Democrat Party. We are seeing people absolutely freak out that Trump is coming into office and that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and maybe Matt Gaetz as a special prosecutor, all these people could be coming into office. And I've never seen so many rats publicly scurry the way these people are scurrying right now. Tells you a lot, doesn't it? Tells you a lot when they're asking, literally putting out there, hey, Joe, you need to pardon Liz Cheney. Why? What the hell did Liz Cheney do? You need to pardon Adam Schiff. Oh, him too? Yeah, and while you're at it, pardon, the little elf on the shelf, Dr. Fauci. Oh yeah, him too. Right now, they just want everybody to have it. It's like an Oprah show. Everybody gets a pardon. You get a pardon, you get a pardon, you get a pardon. Even people in the media. I'm about to get into all that, but first I want to tell you about tonight. At 7:30, I have another interview that's going to drop. I would try to drop it on YouTube as well, but I think they're going to freak out. But I might try it anyway just to see what happens. I'd love to push the envelope and let you guys see this on YouTube as well as Rumble. But I may just play it safe and put it on Rumble. The last one did so well on Rumble, it might be worth just staying safe over here. This, and Ashley said, hey, you got to show a trailer. I'm like, no, I can't do that. It would be too risky, but you can't miss this. If you liked the Border Patrol interview, you're going to love this one. Tonight's interview at 7:30 is with an FBI whistleblower. And I spend an hour talking to this FBI whistleblower. This isn't like a quick hit that you might see on some of the news channels or in Congress or on other YouTubers. We spent, I think, close to an hour and 20 minutes talking. And I knew it was shocking as I was listening and talking to him. And then Ashley previewed it because she has to go through and make sure everything's approved by the person. And she texted me, she's like, oh my gosh. She couldn't believe what this guy was saying. So at 7:30 tonight, I want you to go ahead and meet me on Rumble or here, depending on where I end up going with it. And I want you to see this interview with this FBI whistleblower. But right now, let's get into today's show.
Well, I mean, I think, Paul Rosenzweig, we talked about this a little bit last night. He makes a point that setting even the non-criminality of all these actors, there's what they would face without being convicted of anything, just by virtue of not being pardoned and therefore in Trump's crosshairs as a potential target. And I'll read you, Michelle, some of Paul's writing on this. Along the way, Liz Cheney would no doubt suffer the reputational emotional harm of indictment, the financial harm of having to defend herself, and the psychic harm of having to bear the pressure of an investigation and charges. Biden owes it to Trump's most prominent critics to save them from that burden.
Read what they just wrote there. Biden owes it to them. Biden owes it to Trump's most prominent critics to save them from the burden of having to face possible prosecution. There's so many things wrong with what you just read there. So many things. First of all, what do you mean the President of the United States, despite his diminished capacity, what do you mean the President of the United States owes these people? He's indebted to these people. Anybody want to explain that one? What did he get in exchange? You know, in order to be in debt to somebody, I have to give you something. I have to either, give you some currency, do you a favor, the whole quid pro quo thing. So for them to come out and say, quote, Biden owes it to Trump. Owes it to these Trump's critics. That should have made everybody's flashing lights go off. How does the President of the United States owe Liz Cheney? How does he owe Adam Schiff? How does he owe the media? What the hell are you talking about? What do we don't know? Or maybe we do. That you feel at this point, you feel this comfortable to go ahead and type up an article. Look at it. You typed up an article in the Atlantic that said Biden owes it to these people. If I'm Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Matt Gaetz, and Donald Trump, I'm reading this article going, there's some fire under this smoke. Because if you're openly telling the world that Biden is indebted to these people, because that's what the word owe means. I owe you something. I'm in your debt. You're telling me that the President of the United States is compromised. There's no other way to take that. So I'm sorry if my voice sounds bad. I'm still getting over my cold. I'm about 85%. But there's no other way to use that word. This guy's a writer. Who was it? Paul somebody. He took finger to keyboard and said that the president owes these people. I want you as an American to understand the ramifications of your president owing somebody a debt. To me, it was infuriating, and at the same time, completely incredulous that someone would openly say that the President of the United States owes these people a debt. Let's continue.
How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I agree with that argument. I disagree with Michael. And I think that I shouldn't say easy, but there's a way to do this, I think, that would make the narrative clear-cut for the American people. It's not ideal.
What narrative? I don't need a narrative. I don't want my president to be part of a debt-ridden narrative. I don't need you to make it easy for me. You're on television, on MSNBC, hope so nobody really saw it, but you're telling people you need to craft this narrative so people can understand it, because they can't possibly understand what we're talking about.
To have an incoming potential head of the FBI, Kash Patel, who has published enemies lists. But one advantage of that is that he wrote a book, he has an enemies list in it, so we know exactly who he has threatened to go after without cause. Just pardon everyone on it. Pardon everyone.
Everyone. Pardon everyone on this list. Now, I haven't seen this list that she's talking about that Kash Patel has published. I'm going to have to look that up. But more than likely, if there's a list, it's a bunch of people that we have questions about. We have questions about their veracity. We have questions about their intentions. You see, you had no problem, none whatsoever, questioning everybody in the Trump orbit, every single person he did business with, every single person, that he had nominated. We see what's going on with Pete Hegseth, which we'll talk about. We saw what you did to the nominees, people like, Kavanaugh. Every single time you could get your hands on something, all you did was try to just go after them. And then Merrick Garland, he did all the dutiful stuff that a wingman like Eric Holder would do. I'm going to indict you. I'm going to indict you. I'm going to seize this. I'm going to seize that. 34 felony counts made up of nothing over and over and over. But now, because Trump has the power that you guys used to, now you're all freaking out. I'm going to get back to that.
On it, give a speech, say, and this is one reason I wish that the president was a better communicator, but give a speech and say, I wasn't able to save the country from Donald Trump, but this is what they've threatened to do. I think we should take them seriously. And I think it's important to do that also just to give the American people, at least those that can be reached by the president, some framework for what's coming, and saying, I don't know what crimes, because these people have not committed crimes.
What? She caught herself. Did you catch that? I don't know what crimes these people have. I don't even know if they've committed crimes. Oh, you caught yourself. Yeah, you did. You didn't know if Trump, quote, had committed any crimes. Nope. You didn't know if Pete Navarro had committed any crimes. You didn't know if Steve Bannon. And the list is go on and on and on. You didn't know people had to begin looking and digging and manufacturing all kinds of so-called evidence. So now we don't even need that. When I say we, I'm talking about Kash Patel and Trump. They can just look at what happened. They can just see the crimes against humanity that, the little elf on the shelf may have done. That's going to be pretty easy to look at. Do you know why it's easy to look at? Because nobody else would even look. Nobody even wanted to see what that little elf was doing. So if you're not looking at the crimes and you're just doing this, then it's pretty easy not to see it. Liz Cheney, basically everybody up on that panel on the January 6th committee. We know for a fact that you manufactured evidence. You lied to the American people. And you think that shouldn't be exposed? You don't think that's a crime? You don't think you used your little soiree up there where you brought in Hollywood directors to create movies and stuff and use that as evidence? Yeah, you got a lot to worry about.
I'm giving them blanket pardons because the list of potential, kind of false
She did it again. They can't get through sentences talking about these fake pardons. I say fake because they're being pardoned for stuff that they supposedly didn't even do, but she can't even discuss it. And I watch people when they talk. You're on television. Just say what you mean. It's very simple. If they didn't do anything, what are they worried about? Oh, you want to preemptively pardon them so they don't have to, lose money. Oh, because if they go through all of these investigations, it might cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. Oh my, nobody would want that, said Rudy Giuliani. See, you want all these parachutes. You want all this protection that you wouldn't afford anybody else. All over X, people were laughing that Rudy Giuliani didn't have enough money to take a cab home. Everybody was laughing about all these people having to report to jail, these grandmothers in jail. You all laughed. I see the post. It was all a joke. And now the reality of the situation is people are going to look. There's no equivocation with that. People are going to look. They're going to see what exactly happened here. Let's see. Let's just make sure everything was on the up and up. And if nothing was untoward, if there were no crimes committed, you don't have to worry about it. So the only reason you'd have to worry is if you think that this guy Kash Patel is going to target or threaten people, I don't care if you threaten me at all. Either I did it or I didn't do it. But you're wanting to protect people from having to basically lawyer up. Okay. Where was that? Where was that comfortability and convenience you seek now when you were going after the Trump people?
The list of potential investigations is kind of boundless. But again, I think you can just keep going back to, they have published an enemies list. They've made it very clear exactly who they want to go after. If you look at the enemies list, the absurdity of going after some of these figures like Cassidy Hutchinson should be pretty clear. Just pardon all of them.
President Biden sparked a wave of bipartisan...
Wait. Just pardon all of them. Well, we already know. It's the absurdity of going after like somebody like Cassidy Hutchinson. We already know. She lied under oath. Merrick Garland didn't want to prosecute. So you're telling me people who we obviously see have perjured themselves. Perjure meaning crime. Not just a lie on television. Hi, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Yes, I do. And then you lie, that's called perjury. That is you lied to Congress. You raised your hand. That's not an absurdity. That's actuality. That's what you did. Guess what that is? It's a crime. You need to be investigated and find out what other crimes you had done. Did somebody pay you? I don't know. We'll have to look.
Partisan backlash this week, announcing the sweeping pardon of his son Hunter. But according to new Politico reporting, it may not be the only pardon that Biden grants. Jonathan Martin reports this. President Joe Biden's senior aides are conducting a vigorous internal debate over whether to issue preemptive pardons to a range of current and former public officials who could be targeted with President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House. One House Democrat already has some ideas about who should be on that list.
Jack Smith's name is on my list.
Why would Jack Smith need to be on a list of people who need a pardon? Think about that. This is a man who is a special counsel. He is a lawyer. He is, quote, an officer of the court. Why would an officer of the court, why would a special counsel, a lawyer, need a pardon? What possibly could a lawyer in that stature have done to need a pardon? He should know the letter of the law, right down to every crossed T and dotted I. Why would he, if he did everything the way he was supposed to, why would he need a pardon? To me, it's not even up to debate. If Biden were to grant Jack Smith a pardon, then we know this entire thing. We know it. We already know. But we would pretty much know there's fire under that smoke.
Liz Cheney's name is on my list. I think that they all should be preemptively pardoned because I think there are people who Trump may bring into this government who will go after these people in a serious way, and there's no need to subject them to that.
The panel is back.
Let me ask you a question. How many people across the entire country have no need to be subjected to criminal prosecution? Yet every single day in every single city in America, many people are being subject to criminal prosecution. Do you see the term elite now being defined in front of your eyes? You should be getting that at this point and understanding, as George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And I ain't in it. The fact that they're even, hey, should he get a pardon? Yeah, for everything he did. What about her? Did she get one? We need to give him one. Well, what about the guy down in Broward County Jail? Does he get one? I mean, because if you're going to make it so everybody you don't want subject to this because they owe you something, you're taking basically the law, and no one's above the law. You're taking the law of the United States and making a mockery of it. An absolute mockery. Why? What makes you any better than the dude sitting in the Orange County Jail in Orlando? Anyone sitting in Rikers? What makes you better? Because you're elbow to elbow with Joe and you can say, or somebody can write this piece of paper and say, I got a get out of jail free card. You ain't got one. Sorry. This isn't right. And I have to believe what we're watching, as I've mentioned many times, is the destruction of the Democrat Party. People are, I'm telling you, there are people on both sides going, say what? You just want to hand out get out of jail free cards to everybody? No, man, that ain't right. My brother Ray Ray's in jail. Ray Ray didn't get a get out of jail free card. I bet you if you took in the chat right now and said, hey, listen, how many of you know someone who may have been arrested or who may be under investigation who didn't do what they did, but you still had to go out and hire an attorney? And see, one of the things I don't understand here, when everyone's talking about this could bankrupt everybody, I'm pretty sure you're afforded an attorney if you're charged with a crime. They'll get you somebody. Why don't you learn what the, getting an attorney really means? When you can't afford $100,000 for legal representation and you got to get the public defender. That's what you want the guy in Miami to have, right? The guy out in the Miami jail right now, he's sitting down in Miami-Dade Correctional Facility and he's waiting for the public defender to come in because he ain't got $100,000. So who says these people have to be bankrupt? Oh, they can't get a public defender because they got the money. Well, where'd they get their money? They'll start looking at that. They don't want you doing all this stuff.
Kate Bedingfield, how real do you think this is, and how important does the White House see this?
Oh, I think it's real. I think they are, look, you heard President Biden and then Vice President Harris on the campaign trail talk about what they believed Donald Trump's abuses of power would mean. And I think that they're...
Wait a minute. You're asking a guy to go out and just willy-nilly give out pardons, and somehow you transferred this to Donald Trump's abuse of power? Donald Trump's not in office. The guy who's going to be giving out pardons like they're candy at Halloween isn't Donald Trump. And Donald Trump asking people to investigate crimes is not an abuse of power. That's what the guy's job is. Or in this instance, Pam Bondi. And then Pam Bondi would then task Kash Patel. Isn't that how investigations work? Or are you saying, and this is exactly what they're saying, don't even look at these people? What do you mean? Don't bother even looking at them. They're above the law. You have no right. It's an abuse of power for you to even look at Liz Cheney. How is that? What do you have that allows you never to be prosecuted? We just saw what they did to a former president, but they're trying to tell you for Trump to even look at these people, to even begin an investigation, is an abuse of power. Wow.
They're taking every opportunity here to explore the options they have left in the time that they have left in office to protect people who may be subject to that attack. So yes, I think it is absolutely a serious process they're undergoing. We'll see what the ultimate outcome is, but I would imagine that Biden views this as an opportunity to ensure that people who don't deserve to be targeted in that way aren't.
People in the way.
People who don't deserve to be targeted in that way aren't targeted. What way? You see, I play a lot of these things because I want you to hear the words that they say. Because it's so comfortable talking in Washington in these studios when they're saying you don't deserve to be targeted. What do you mean? And the reason why I'm doing this today is because I want you to put yourself in the situation right now that you're never going to be afforded a pardon. Nope. Presidential pardon. Never. Imagine getting a job on a television station in the administration, one of the, gazillion people that work there, and you're told, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that, look this up, do this. And you don't even check the law because you're getting that order. And then afterwards, you find out you broke the law, but now I deserve a pardon. I was just following orders. Who doesn't deserve to be investigated? What criminal doesn't deserve to be investigated? And I say criminal, let me just pull that back. If a crime is seen and you want to know who did it, who is above the law from being investigated? Well, Barry, we don't even know if there's a crime. Oh, really? Let's see. Let me look in the code here. Yeah, this one here. Treason. And what define treason? Well, one thing, it's beyond any statute of limitations, so now we're going to start looking back. And it's basically working against the American people, against the American people's best interest. Could lying on a committee, trying to put 1,500 people in jail, be considered treason? I can't answer that. I'm not a judge. But I know if I go talk to all these 1,500 people in jail who are living, breathing witnesses, I've talked to one. You saw the interview with Kimberly. And so a person who would go and interview this person and say, hey, Kim, so tell me your story. Did you get this? Did you get that? Did they tell you this? Did they tell? She may not even know what laws they broke, but the person talking to her could, they did that to you? Oh, I wonder who gave, and right now I'm writing my note. Okay, somebody told this guy to do this, and understanding the rules of procedure. I mean, the web and where this thing could go and how it could ensnare people is absolutely mind-boggling. When I was listening to Kimberly's interview, if you haven't seen it, it's on Rumble, and she was talking about how she was arrested and what they did to her. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm sure some of you watched that interview and went, they did what? How did they do that? Why would they have done that? Did you give them permission to do this? Then you go back in, if you're Kash Patel, and you talk to that agent. Who told you to do this? Who gave you the order? Okay, now I'm this person. Why did you tell Joe to go do this to Kimberly? How do you know who deserves to be pardoned until you go through that chain and go, okay, here's the guy who made the call. He was told to make the call by this guy. The order came from this person. And I'm just following the breadcrumbs to see where it leads to. Did she ever get this? Was she ever afforded this right, that right? Did they make her sign? I don't even know. I can't, and then all of that I just said to you, which is very cursory. Do that times 1,500 people. Yeah, multiply that times 1,500. And then you're like, wow, you don't think anybody did anything wrong in those 1,500 prosecutions? Seriously? How about that guy Ray? You know the guy, I don't know if I can say his name here, but what happened there? Who was he working for? Who did they tell him to do? Why did he? Don't tell me that doesn't deserve to be looked into. You owe it. Not from the government. We owe it to those people who were put in jail. And why were their sentences the way? Don't even get me started. I guess I started, didn't I? But you understand what I'm saying.
And the Biden campaign and then the Harris campaign had legitimate fears during the race of what would happen if Trump won, really fearing potential legal persecution and also like what the cost would do. That being said, the context here matters, and that this is coming right after a lot of Democrats are very upset with how Joe Biden rolled out his pardon of his son Hunter, doing it as a one-off, as being like, oh, I'm very, very concerned about political persecution, and I'm only doing my son. And they're like, well, if you're so worried, then why not include this with lots of other people?
Jonathan, as we consider all this,
understand the difference in these two words I'm going to tell you. Because as you understand the difference in these two words, a lot of stuff begins to make sense. Persecution and prosecution. Persecution, oh me, why me? Oh no, you shouldn't be doing this to me. Prosecution, I am the one doing this to you because blah, blah, blah. These people are whining. They are worried about being persecuted, meaning unfairly. You're treating me bad. My fifis, all this kind of stuff. My nipples hurt. All that kind of stuff. You perceive persecution. You are prosecuted. Make sure you understand the difference there. Persecution is the way somebody feels. I feel like you're hurting my feelings. Why? Because I'm calling you on the phone and telling you to get an attorney, lawyer up, preserve your documents. You're feeling persecuted. They're using these words interchangeably. I don't care about you feeling persecuted. That's of none of my business. If you did something, you should be prosecuted. Big difference. And then also you just heard that guy say again, hitting these people where it really matters. We've heard it 3 or 4 times already. The costs. The cost. They shouldn't have to endure these costs. Oh, you don't want to be like Rudy Giuliani, huh? You made a whole bunch of money. Oh my God, I shouldn't have to, absorb all these costs. That's what they care about. Go after what they care about the most, the money.
Let's talk about your latest piece for Politico titled Biden White House is discussing preemptive pardons for those in Trump's crosshairs. In it, you write this, quote, President Joe Biden's senior aides are conducting a vigorous internal debate over whether to issue preemptive pardons to a range of current and former public officials who could be targeted with President-elect Donald.
Now, this is the guy who actually wrote the article that other people were referring to. And as you read what he's writing here, to a range, and I quote, of current and former public officials. That's a whole lot of people right there. That's a whole lot of people in that orbit. Current, they're actually still in the administration, and former, they're no longer in the administration, but, they're worried too. Let me ask you a question. If you don't work for the White House or the government anymore, what are you worried about? That would be Liz Cheney. Former public officials. That would be Adam Kinzinger. That might be Andy McCabe. You see, this thing is dirty, it stinks to high hell, and it's just not equitable to the people of America.
Trump's return to the White House. It's according to senior Democrats familiar with the discussions. The deliberations touch on pardoning those currently in office, elected and appointed, as well as former officials who've angered Trump and his loyalists. Those who could face exposure include such members of Congress's January 6th committee as Senator-elect Adam Schiff and former GOP Representative Liz Cheney.
Adam Schiff, sorry, bud. We've heard you lie for years. We've heard you get in front of Congress and just make stuff up. And we're going all the way back to the Russia collusion stuff and everything else. And you're saying that this guy should be let off scot-free. Nah, it ain't going down like that.
Mentioned by Biden's aides for a pardon, Anthony Fauci, the former head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, who became a lightning rod for criticism from the right during the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's funny. It's not just the right anymore, is it? You see, there's a lot of people on the left now who are like, hey, listen, Grandpa passed and I couldn't even get to say goodbye. And there's reports coming out that I can't really discuss here, but many of you have probably heard about these reports, where there's a lot of shenanigans that went on. A lot. And of course, Merrick Garland and Biden wouldn't dare start looking under that smoke. Oh no, we don't want to open that pile of worms there. But obviously, there's enough there to warrant an investigation.
Pandemic. The president himself, Jonathan, continues, who was intensely focused on his son's pardon, has not been brought into the broader pardon discussions yet. according to people familiar with deliberations. So, Jonathan, what does this look like? What are you pardoning Anthony Fauci for? What are you pardoning Liz Cheney for, who've not been charged or convicted of crimes?
That goes to the heart of this deliberation, Willie, and why this is so delicate, because the White House counsel and a handful of senior White House aides, including Jeff Zients, the chief of staff, are having this debate right now in the West Wing, which is, do we leave these folks out in the cold?
Why would you be leaving them out in the cold? His question was, why do you need to pardon them if there's been no crime committed? That was the question. Thus far, no answer.
Eventually expose them to Kash Patel's FBI and Donald Trump's White House for any number of charges or some kind of, show trial to get a measure of revenge.
This is where they lose me with this revenge thing. Everybody knows that, how's the saying go? You can indict anybody. You can indict a ham sandwich. We've heard that. You've heard it many a times, hopefully. So if you can indict anybody, you can indict a ham sandwich. So pretty much anybody is at risk. Anybody. And what they have always relied on in terms of when they try to get an indictment, they bring it in a very favorable venue, very favorable jurisdiction, like Washington, where they can get anybody convicted because it's going to be a jury of not your peers. See, what these people fear is what Kash Patel said. Kash Patel said he wanted to break up, the FBI, put him all over the place. And when you hear the interview tonight, you're going to, all the bells are going to go off. These two shows tie in together. Imagine you're Liz Cheney and you are investigated in Wyoming. And in Wyoming, your investigation is not going to see, attorneys and judges in the swamp. I want you to really, really grasp that. When they wanted to go after Trump, they went after Trump in New York City, Fulton County, Georgia, and Washington, D.C., and then Miami, Florida. They thought they would get a favorable judge. The Miami one fell apart quickly. But they kept going in New York, and they kept going in Fulton County, and they tried to do the other one in Washington with Judge Chutkan. Now imagine if that same approach, if they did it, in Alabama. The Alabama judge and jury would have probably thrown it out day one. No, you can't do it here. Conversely, what happens if Adam Schiff is brought to trial in, Huntsville? You see why it gets scary for these people? See, Adam Schiff would probably walk in Washington. He ain't going to do that well in Huntsville. Wouldn't do that well in Birmingham or, somewhere out in Wyoming. They know this. They understand that Kash Patel doesn't want to bring these cases in the same old jurisdictions. That is huge because now that, number one, they're going to have to travel. Number two, they're going to have to defend themselves if there's anything there in unfriendly jurisdictions. That has got to be terrifying for these people.
And at the very least, make them pay six figures in legal bills to avoid such a case, or do we offer preemptively pardons to people who there's no proof they've done anything wrong whatsoever, and really may not want to.
Whoa. There's no proof they did anything wrong. You're a writer at Politico. Unless I'm wrong, you're not a prosecutor. And unless I'm wrong, you haven't even investigated anybody to see if they've done anything wrong. So how can you proclaim on television, oh, they've done nothing wrong? That's why the media is BS. I have to keep checking the way I talk. That's why you can tell these people are freaking out. Because nobody wants to hear the crap anymore. Because they just, pablum just falls out of their mouth and they just lie. You have no idea. I would have respect for you as a writer too if you came out and said, I don't know what kind of investigative techniques could, possibly find something. But for you to declare openly, no, she's fine. Everybody's fine. There's no evidence. There's no crime.
Pardon in the first place. That's a real tough call, because if you don't do it and Patel and company come after some of these people and you had the chance to give them inoculation legally, that's a hell of a thing to regret. At the same time, do you want to pardon somebody like Liz Cheney or Anthony Fauci and suggest any kind of impropriety that could only add fuel to the Trump aggressors in the first place?
Didn't you just do that? The fact that you exposed in an article that they are all sitting around in the White House or whatever and think of hey, what do we need to do? We need to do preemptive pardons. Everyone's talking about these preemptive pardons. Why would you even talk about it? That's why I'm saying we're watching the destruction of the Democrat Party. Why would you even bring it up? It doesn't make any sense. It makes absolutely no sense for you to discuss something if you didn't want to give the, perception of things being wrong. It's amazing.
It's a real tough nut.
In the pardon corner tonight, just days after President Biden pardoned his son, Politico is now reporting that his team is also discussing preemptive pardons for prominent figures of the MAGA enemies list, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, Senator-elect Adam Schiff, and also Liz Cheney, who, of course, endorsed Kamala Harris and led the January 6th investigation on Capitol Hill. Is this a good idea?
The question is, would they accept a pardon? Because if you don't think you did anything wrong, which they didn't, they might want to.
Again, if you think you did anything wrong, which they didn't, I would love to sit in front of this woman and go, I play poker, and I will push all in. I'll push my chips all in right now. I'm going to call your bluff. You think they did nothing? I think they did. Which back it up. Push your chips in. Because at this point, you're going to see the media start to scurry. They're trying to run cover for these people over and over. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong. How the F would you even know? You don't is the answer. You have no clue. You probably don't even know which laws she could have broken. I don't. But I'm not going to say she's innocent and that nothing could happen. See, this is the kind of stuff that just drives you crazy, because then you realize these people are lying to you. They're looking you in the face, if you're watching that channel, and they're just openly lying to you. Blah, 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 blah.
Not take a pardon. But I will say this. You're talking about an unprecedented crew of people coming in. Listen, even if they don't indict you, they could investigate you into bankruptcy, torture you with FBI investigations, Kash Patel.
Oh, it's the money again. Every time you start talking about money as a motive for not being investigated, you lose me. That is no factor in it. Let me stop here and take some comments. It's been a while. I just wonder what you guys think about that. They can sit there and say Trump is guilty without being convicted of anything. Yep, exactly. They had 40% of America fooled. And I think what they're going to see here, they're going to see a lot of people, not on the left, I'm not going to call them lefters, a lot of Democrats who still have sense are going to see the same thing. And they're going to see it and go, well, if she doesn't have anything to worry about, why she need a pardon? Refuse it. I don't need it. I didn't do anything wrong. You want to investigate me? Investigate me. Just do it. Pardon equals no Fifth Amendment. Yeah, which means at that point, you're going to have to give up some goods for sure. Torture you with investigations. They have their own way with words. They wouldn't think twice about you being tortured with an investigation. They didn't think twice about the J6ers being tortured with investigations. They were insurrectionists. Wait a minute. Nobody was charged with that. Nobody. But every single person in liberal media calls them all insurrectionists. Interesting. That's what it is. They spent all that time screwing people over, making money, and don't want to spend it on the lawyers. Absolutely. It's all about money. I don't understand how that could come out your mouth. They might get bankrupted. So, every single person in every single jail across this country is either going to have to take a public defender or pony up some cash. There's no other way. Or no, the third way is you could always be your own attorney. I believe Adam Schiff's an attorney. Adam, it wouldn't cost you a dime. You could go in and defend yourself, couldn't you? Yeah, good luck with that. Can you pardon beforehand? Yes. Just so you guys all know, because I get that question a lot. How can they pardon beforehand? Well, that's what a preemptive pardon is. The pardon for a beforehand thing would say something to the effect, for all crimes committed to this day and before this day, whether heretofore known or not known. But I could have done anything. I could have, I don't know, jaywalked. I could have cheated on my taxes. I could have shot somebody. You tell me anything? Anything. Man, just think about that. And again, I'm going to go back to you not having a card in this club where someone could actually say anything you've done in your past up until today. The only person I know who could do that. But then, even then, you got to confess, Lord, I've been a sinner. I have sinned. Please forgive me for my sins. Depending on what kind of church you go to, if you go to Catholic church, you got to start naming them. That would have taken a long time going to confession. But in any event, that's the only person I know who could absolve you of all your past transgressions. That and a presidential pardon. Everything you have done, whether known or not known, to this date, December 5th. You are now hereby forgiven. Think of the power of that. These people may have screwed people over for years. And you can't limit it because I'm sure they won't take a limited pardon. He didn't even do that with his son. Anything since 2014. 10 years. Anything he's done. The blow, the hookers, moving money back, anything, he gets off. Wow. Maybe I'll get a pardon. Somebody says, SCOTUS says no pardon for federal workers. Free the J6 patriots. Absolutely. Those are kingly powers, somebody just said. Yes. Can anyone stop that? Can anyone stop the presidential pardon? I guess you could probably look to, yes. I don't know if you can. Let me rephrase that. You can't stop it. You can try to fight it, but then think of all the money you're going to have to spend to go in front of the, move up through the process and go to the Supreme Court. It could be lots of money. Let's see what else we got. Biden giving out pardons for Christmas. Watch what happens as we get close. It's going to be crazy. Pat Hacker, this is it. Democrat Party is over. I firmly believe that. Because I'm wondering, here's interesting. Liz Cheney isn't in office. Adam Schiff is in office. If you take a pardon, I wonder if you can continue holding office. Could you run again if you're under a presidential pardon? I don't know. We've never been here as a country. Yep, Bob, you're correct. They had no problem whatsoever trying to bankrupt Trump, and they all got giddy thinking about it, especially Letitia James, telling people that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $18 million. Crazy. You can't stop it, but it can be mitigated in many ways. Absolutely. Is a pardon worth the truth? These people don't want the truth. Yes, Gary, you are correct. A presidential pardon is only for federal crimes. Absolutely. Being pardoned removes the see, this is where it gets real deep. Monique is absolutely right here. Being pardoned removes the Fifth Amendment protection. All right, so understand what you just said there. It's so true. And this is why I believe we're starting to hear all this information about preemptive pardons. All right, listen to this. Hunter Biden now has a blanket pardon. You can't go to jail. Okay. But like Monique and others have said, you now have waived your Fifth Amendment, meaning I can't prosecute you and you can't incriminate yourself. Now I'm going to start asking you questions. So if I ask you a question and you know, or your attorneys or someone else's attorneys know that that line of questioning is going to lead to that guy. That guy is going to want a pardon from Joe Biden. Because when Hunter says, when they ask Hunter, who have you been buying your blow from? Oh, that guy. You see where this goes? Because every time they ask him a question, departing, what bank did you deposit the money in? Did that banker know where that money was coming from? Oh, that banker is going to want a pardon. Because that banker now doesn't have a pardon. So I go talk to that banker, where are the different accounts that you sent this money? Because Hunter said you're the guy who sent it. And that guy's sitting there, I don't have a ticket for the lifeboat. He's going to need it. Because who knows where that money went? Just think how deep this entire thing goes and why these people in the White House are freaking out. Because they know that Hunter now can say anything he wants. And will have to answer truthfully because he's not going to go to jail. So whose butts are on the line based upon what Hunter says? Obviously his father, obviously his uncle, obviously his mom, obviously his uncle's wife. All these people in that orbit need to be covered. Now, when all they get covered, now he goes and talks to Biden's brother. So when you got this deposit and you had this wire transfer and we're seeing it, who was your banker? Oh, that was Mr. Smith. I'm going to go into Mr. Smith's office and I'm going to ask Mr. Smith what happened. Now, that's just Hunter. That's one person, and you're just pulling all this apart. And it could be hundreds of people that Hunter gives up. Let that sink in. Hey, Hunter, did you do this? Hey, what happened when this happened? And someone's sitting there going, oh, John Smith, Fred Smith, Joe Smith, Julie Smith, all these people he's going to name. And then all of a sudden, they're going to go to these people. If they don't have that ticket, if they don't have that get out of jail pardon ticket, guess what? Chirpity chirp, chirp, chirp. Lawyer up. You're the next man up at this point. So I want you to focus on that because the news, in a very obfuscated way, is telling you there's a lot of people in this orbit who are worried. A lot of people. Because you know that this crackhead, blow-snorting, hooker-loving nut did not orchestrate this scheme. So if you just start with this guy, you have no idea where it's going to lead. You don't have, and multiply that times every single aspect of things. Hey, listen, who told, go down and raid Mar-a-Lago? Where'd that come from? You're in the FBI. Again, listen to the FBI interview tonight. And just imagine the whiteboard in front of you. And you've seen mob movies. Remember the Godfather, one of my favorite movies, when they walk into court and they've got the chart and it's got Vito Corleone and Michael Corleone and Sonny and this person and that person. Everybody down that chart is a liability. And then what happened with the liabilities? Pop, pop, pew, poo, poo. Fredo, you got to go. All these people. The liabilities had to start disappearing. Now, I just want you to even grasp, this is, when you see that kind of a flow chart, that's just from Hunter. Bankers, business associates, politicians. And I'm sitting here going, this is devastating. Who knew? And everybody who knew, and what did they do? And I'm not trying to make light of it or spend too much time on it, but I want you to just understand, if somebody is willing to look, Never mind the prosecution. Just, hey, we got this one guy. Let's start here. Let's start with Hunter. And let's come up with all of the things we want to ask Hunter. And every answer to every question is going to spin off to 5 more. I don't think there's enough pardons to go around. And I think the one pardon that could be challenged is when Joe pardons himself. So, don't be surprised if Joe Biden comes out and says, I'm pardoning Donald Trump. And he's looking for Donald Trump to say, all right, we're going to stop all this nonsense. We're going to pardon Joe. That's what he's thinking. Trump would commit political suicide if he were to do that. Nope, no deals. No flipping deals. Now I want you to go even further. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but now you got this report from November of 1963. And Kash Patel's like, we're going to release it. Now, many of the people in that report are probably not here anymore. But who knows what agencies and corporations may get named in that report. Imagine what names and agencies get released in the 9/11 report. Imagine the names that get released in that guy who had the islands report. And everybody on these lists know who they are. You know if you're on that list. You know if you were involved in 9/11. You know if you were doing something with Hunter. Maybe that's why Biden is actually over in Africa. Because we can't see who went to Africa with him, who's making calls, how are they. Because right now, I would be terrified. I would be terrified if I was involved in any governmental agency, involved in all these things that Kash Patel has now said, you know what, we're gonna give you that one. Oh, look at these people. Now you see why the preemptive pardons, because they don't even know what's behind door number 2. You're in some agency, you've made who knows how much money, gazillion dollars, everything was fine, Trump wasn't supposed to win, he was supposed to be in jail, and you're like, what? He won? And my name's in this, and now Hunter has immunity? Just let that sink in. I want you to see the mammoth size of what could be coming.
Is evidently going to be our next FBI director. Is that what you want to be dealing with for the rest of your life?
Trump during the time he was out of office.
President Trump got actually indicted by a grand jury.
They tried to bankrupt him. They
oh my God.
raided his house. Same thing, Julie.
They raided his house because he had he had documents that he.
She's making excuses for the raid, and she says he was raided because he had documents. How did you know that? You see what the coverage here and how they're looking? They're trying. This is going to be epic. You're going to see people self-deporting in a different way, because I don't know how it's going to happen.
Stored there. I don't think that Phyllis Cheney has any secret documents stored. If she does, obviously they should be raiding her house too. But look.
I think the fact that they have to have that discussion says everything about Kash Patel and Donald Trump's nominees.
No. The fact that they have to have the discussion about preemptive pardons says everything about the people who may need a preemptive pardon. You flippin' moron. It's not about Trump and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. It's about the people who may need one. Man, I know Dan Goldman is stupid. And he may be one of the guys who might have to get looked at, because Dan Goldman, as stupid as he is, has got tens and tens of millions of dollars. Wow, Dan, where did you get your money from? The hunters have become the hunted, and they don't know what to do. And it's really showing. You can see it in their faces. The bright eyes, like, okay, what do we do here? We need to have this talk about preemptive. How many are you gonna have? Thousands? And what happens with the people you leave off the list?
There is no reason why any president must consider preemptive pardons because the incoming administration has made it so clear that they will go after political adversaries. And Kash Patel has been in.
Yeah, they weren't expecting that, huh? It's Trump's fault we need a preemptive pardon. It's Trump and Kash Patel. It's their fault that we broke the law and stole gazillions of dollars and did other crazy stuff with kids. It's their fault. Imagine the 320,000 kids that are missing. Imagine when they hit on that and they hit that button and see, who are these NGOs? And why are these NGOs getting millions to move kids all around the country? Who's getting paid by these NGOs? Non-governmental organizations. You see how deep this rabbit hole could possibly go? And they're freaking. Because, oh my God, they don't even know. All it's going to take is 1, 2, or 3 people in this pipeline, and it could take the entire thing down. 1, 2, or 3 people who say, no mas, I don't want to lose everything I have. I don't want to go to jail for 20 years. What do you need? Game over for that person he's going to roll on. Put me in WITSEC. Set me up on a ranch in Montana. I'm good. Just tell me what you want to know. How many times are you going to hear that? Well, we'll never hear it, but how many times do you think Kash Patel is going to hear it? Hey, listen, don't take my money. Do whatever I need to do. This money is, I love money. I know it's the root of all evil, the love of money, but I do love the money, so I guess I'm evil, but let me keep it. What do you need to know? Well, it depends on what you know. Go ahead and turn on some police shows or FBI shows this weekend and just go through them all and watch how people flip when it's on them. What can you give me? Who's up the food chain?
Incredibly vocal about that. And I hope that the Senate Republicans, who know Joe Biden very well and know he would not take something like this lightly, really consider the fact that that's even part of this discussion about Kash Patel. He is unqualified. He is unhinged. He has made it very clear that he is out for retribution. He is sending cease and desist letters and lawsuits. This is a dangerous person to head up our top law enforcement agency, and just the fact that this is even part of the conversation says everything that the Senate Republicans should need to hear.
And I've come to
now understand what he just said there. As I've been telling you for the last hour, these people are freaking out. They've lost it. They've completely lost it. And what it is reduced to so much screaming, wailing, and crying. It's very hard to even look at the media right now. I'm serious. When I look at the various clips I can use from my show and everything, I'm like, all they're doing is crying. You can't have Pete Hegseth. You can't have Kash Patel. You can't do this. Oh yeah, his mom. One guy even was like, well, he needed his mom to defend him and blah blah blah. It's just like looking at kindergartners screaming in a playground. There's nothing of substance that the Democrats have to offer at this point. It's probably why their ratings are just, you've got nothing of substance. It is one show after the other, whining, complaining, crying, and lying. There's nothing positive right now. You would think, all right, we got our butts beat on November 5th. We got to get ready for 2026. Okay, we that's behind us. What do we need to do? Let's go ahead and start talking to and start pushing up somebody who might be great for us. Hey, how you doing, XYZ person? So what do you think we should be doing in 2026? What's your plan for turning things around? Nope. Today's a month. Today, December 5th, we are 1 month out, and they're still crying like school kids. Nothing of substance. Nothing. Talk about running the same playbook into the ground. There is no playbook anymore. It burned up, and they're still crying about it. You're a racist. You guys are this. You're homophobic. You're xenophobic. Blah blah blah. And now we need preemptive part. Nothing positive. There's nothing. And I challenge you to go look on MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. Look at all of them. And see if you find anything where anybody says, this is what we need to start focusing on for 2026. 2024 is over. You lost. What's next? And it's simply amazing that the one guy who seems to have some sense is John Fetterman. He's the only one who's like out there, hey, we need to start looking at this and this. Everybody else plus this nutbag. I played her yesterday, and I'm bringing her back because I think she needs an encore performance.
Conclusion that Trump has sort of broken the mold once again, and so Biden needs to break the mold once again. Although the vast, vast majority of the people that Trump has his eye on, maybe all of them, frankly, have committed no crime, that is not going to stop him and Kash Patel and the rest of them, Pam Bondi at the Justice Department, from coming after them.
How does she, again, I've said it, you guys could do this. How do you know, Jennifer, that nobody has committed a crime? I'm telling you what they're doing at this point. They've moved into protection mode. For the limited amount of people who are watching their crap, they're trying to convince them at this point, nobody's done anything wrong. Nope, nobody, none of them. It's big bad Kash Patel that's going to be the problem. Nobody has done anything wrong. And that's what they're going with.
So prospectively, what can Biden do? Well, he can issue blanket pardons to entire categories of people for any conduct relating to Donald Trump. It would cover everyone from witnesses in a trial or in a congressional proceeding. I
had to watch this twice, and this is why I brought it back. Did you hear what she just said? She said, let's go ahead and issue pardons for people who have done something to Donald Trump. Her focus is so narrow. She thinks that Trump or Kash Patel are going to come after people who did something to Trump. No, honey, that's not it. Trump doesn't, no, it's not about what you did to him. It's about what you've been doing to America. It's what you've been doing to children. It's what you've been doing with pharmaceuticals. It's the money that has transpired and gone back and forth to do different ill will things. Forget, Trump's not, and I do believe this. I do not believe Trump is out to go after people who hurt him. Doesn't really matter. At this point, he knows there's a much bigger target here. And that target is people who broke the law and hurt America. People who did things and thrust it on the American people. And we can go back to the jab-a-demic, and we can go back to 1963. This woman's way too myopic. Wait, you're thinking small potatoes. Just Trump? You think Trump is just worried about what's happened to him? You're way off then.
Cassidy Hutchinson, you recall her, she was a star witness at the January 6th hearing. It would cover journalists. It would cover anyone who he has identified by name or type. Can he do that? Absolutely.
This is going to be a fun first month. From January 20th on, you're going to see heads roll. And I still don't understand why we're having this charade about Senate confirmations. I still believe that Trump has got something up his sleeve in regards to his recess appointments. I just have to believe that. So I want to talk to you about Lear Capital, and then we'll go right back into the second half of the show. If you see what's going on in the world right now and what may happen here in America, you may want to prepare and pay attention. You know that Lear Capital is a big supporter of this show. If you want to be protected in the event that things go off the wall, I advise you to look into buying gold and silver. We are all just one catastrophic event away from the value of the American dollar plunging. Do you know what's not plunging? Gold and silver. I'm telling you now, make sure that you have some form of your money invested in precious metals. Lear Capital will ship your gold or your silver coins directly to your house. It's not just a certificate. You can store them in your gun safe, or you can store them off-site in a 24-hour protected facility. It's totally up to you. But when things go crazy here or across the world, the value of the American dollar is going to decline. It's inevitable, and it might not even take a war. We may do it to ourselves. And I mean, the Federal Reserve plays around with interest rates, the US dollar will likely decline in value as well. Meanwhile, you'll see gold and silver continue to rise in value. If you call Lear Capital, they will take the time to educate you and answer all of your questions about gold and silver. Just give them a call at 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry, that's me, learberry.com to download your free de-dollarization report. You should know that Lear Capital is an American company. If you call them today, you'll be speaking with people right here in the United States. Now is the time to take action. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, ask them how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. There's absolutely no obligation to buy anything. Just free information on protecting your hard-earned dollars with gold and silver. You know, when you think about it, you're actually not buying anything. You're simply going to be exchanging dollars for gold, moving currency. Give them a call today. Tell them Barry sent you. So while I was talking, the boss has dropped another nominee, or is it, I don't think this one needs a Senate confirmation, so let's just get to this real quick. It says here, and this is from Caroline Levitt, who dropped it on behalf of Donald, and he then posted it. I am pleased to announce that Dean John Sauer will serve as Solicitor General of the United States in my administration. John is a deeply accomplished, masterful appellate attorney who worked for Justice Antonin Scalia in the United States Supreme Court, served as Solicitor General of Missouri for 6 years, and has extensive experience practicing before the U.S. Supreme Court and other appellate courts. Most recently, John was a lead counsel representing me in the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States, winning a historic victory on presidential immunity, which was key to defeating the unconstitutional campaign of lawfare against me and the entire Maga movement. John was a Rhodes Scholar, graduate from Duke University, Oxford University, his magna cum laude, graduate of Harvard Law. John will be a great champion for us as we make America great again. And he served with Eric Schmidt, who is the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. So that's a big one, an absolute big thing here. So he's bringing him on. Then I'm going to go back, and it looks as though Trump has been busy today. And one of the things he's talking about, as you know, I just talked about gold. Well, Trump is also congratulating people as Bitcoin has now hit $100,000. You're welcome. Together, we will make America great again. So Bitcoin has hit over 100,000. Regrets? I have a few. Too many to mention. I bought Bitcoin when it was like 1,000. And it went up to like 2,000. I'm like, honey, we made a whole bunch of money. And it just went to 100,000. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. 100,000 for Bitcoin. For one. Just one. I have a Bitcoin interview, Bitcoin expert interview that I'm going to be dropping next week. But just simply amazing. It just went over 100,000. It's one of the success stories that's going on right now. So many people bought it early, had a chance to buy it early. I have read stories where people bought Bitcoin at like $50 and sold it at 75, and just craziness. And there are some people who just held and held and held and held and are sitting on tens of millions of dollars right now. Incredible. Absolutely incredible how that has happened. So anyway, Bitcoin, and he congratulated people who bought Bitcoin. And then he posted a lot of stuff about people writing articles about the success he's having with his appointments. And most importantly, which we're going to go to, is he posted this, which is a story that ran in the New York Post 40 minutes ago. Democrats' attack on the intelligent, articulate, and patriotic Pete Hegseth. It shows why they're lost. A salute to Trump's defense. We got to have Pete Hegseth. Cannot allow these people to have another scalp, which I still think we're going to find out more about Matt Gaetz, but still. Before I continue, let me just go here. Yes, you can pardon for future crimes. Just watch Biden try. No, I don't think you can do that for future. Is that the smell of burning cash money in the air? There's some people who made so much money. Rock and roll all night, Donald every day. Donald is building a war chest. Absolutely. XRP went from 50 cents to $2 in 234 hours. I remember when Bitcoin was a penny stock, somebody said, yeah, think about it. I bought some crazy stuff. Somebody's like, regrets. I feel you, Barry. I bought some crazy stuff and it's just sitting in there. I bought a Shiba. I bought Doge. Those didn't take off. They didn't go crazy like that. The hardest thing to do is, as I say, just like the song, burn a woodpile down. Absolutely. I also hope he checks out the insurance companies. They have way too much power. Speaking about insurance companies, I'm sure you saw it. It looked like something out of, the Bourne Identity. But I've seen some people. I didn't even talk about it because I don't have that kind of experience. But I watched the United Healthcare CEO poo shooting, and I was like, that guy. But now today they've got a picture of his face, so it won't be long. They're gonna get him. They will get him. That's crazy. I've never done anything to say buy some Doge and then forget about it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Pardons do not cover future crimes. Yep, only crimes already committed. That's what I believe as well to be true. I'm in for Pete. We need him. So we're going to go into the second part of the show right now. And those of you who have watched me in terms of what I've been doing with these new shows, this is the 10. Instead of the 5 like on Fox, this is the 10.
How do you dismantle all of this?
Oops, I forgot. I still have a segment from before. Let's go to this segment. So this is Kash Patel with Glenn Beck and a few other people talking about how do you tear this down?
I mean, look, CIA, NSA, DNI, NSC, we're looking at the scariest operations. I mean, look at what Snowden said. That's like old-timey radio now. You're not going anywhere. You're not destroying them.
And as fun as it is to write about this stuff and live it and investigate and expose it, you're right. The one thing President Trump told me was like, so what? What's the solution? How do we fix it? And that's what half of Government Gangsters Without More, if not more, is about. And it's a collective. So in the end, I summarize in 5 pages, 240 pages of fixes for each agency and department. But the sum and substance is as follows. Yes, personnel. I got it. And I couldn't agree with you more. But it's not just the cabinet secretaries. It's the undersecretaries, it's the deputies, it's the chiefs of staff, it's the assistants to this, it's the assistants to that. And the question is, do you have the bench to fix it? And the answer is yes. I've worked with them. A lot of them are still in government. They just don't want to leave and be exposed because they have careers in government. But we can bring those folks up. And there is a big bench outside of government that wants to go back in. So you've got the personnel component. That's a piece of it. The next big piece, in my opinion, is Congress. And what they have failed to do is hold these government gangsters accountable by taking away their funding. During Russiagate, when we issued 17 subpoenas against Rosenstein and Wray's FBI and DOJ, they gave us the Heisman. Then I went in and fenced $10 million. 2,000 pages of documents showed up the next day. And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum.
Maybe we take Merrick Garland's fancy fleet of Escalades where he runs around in boondoggles and said, no, you don't need those right now. And we have a Republican majority in Congress that refuses who has the purse strings to enact these mechanisms. You don't have to de-budget them. You just take pockets of money. And when you have, this is what you need in Congress the next go round with the personnel decision, is folks who willingly violate congressional mandates, you take their money. Once you take their money, that's the one thing government gangsters, universal oxygen.
That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of the dollars being taken. He's absolutely right. All the other stuff, they'll figure a way. You take Congress money away, that's what they're terrified about.
Is our taxpayer dollars. So Congress has to step up, and then of course you need the judiciary. You got to start impeaching federal judges. Have to start impeaching federal judges who have rubber stamped this illicit conduct for the last 5-10 years.
That didn't sound like a guy who was unhinged to me. That sounded to me like a guy who knows exactly what needs to happen to get this stuff fixed. And I love what he said about Trump. He said, Trump, oh yeah, I understand that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. What's the solution? How do we fix it? My old boss, who I worked with in the advertising agency, always taught me that. Don't bring me a problem. There are problems everywhere. I don't want to know about the problem. Bring me both. Here's what the problem is, and here's what I have as a solution. Now that's something worth my time to look at. I can't take the time to listen to people complain and bitch and moan about the problem who don't have the initiative or knowledge of how to fix it. And that doesn't mean your fix it is always going to be the correct way. It doesn't necessarily mean that. You may have a plan to fix it, and now we need to go in and flesh that out and do it the right way. But at least there's something here we can look at and say, oh, this needs to be fixed. I don't like the way you're doing this. Let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. But don't just come and say it's broken. I pay you way too much money to tell me it's broke. I'm the CEO. I understand it's broken. It's why I hired you. Oh. So go back and come back to me with the other side of the table, the other coin. I know it's broke. That's why I hired you. Tell me what you need to do to fix it. And that's what Kash Patel is. These people are freaked out because everybody, you, me, everybody looking at Washington, D.C. can see it's broken. And we've heard over and over and over people say, oh, this is broken. Nobody comes in and says, okay, it's broken, but here's how we're going to fix it. We're going to get all this rot, all this crap out of here, and we're going to move forward. That's what Washington has lacked for so long, and the reason why it has lacked that so long is these people just keep getting paid. They just keep making money off the same crap with never having to worry about it. And now you've got Elon and Vivek, and you've got Kash, and you've got Pete Hegseth, who are all coming in and saying, this sucks. This is wrong. And they're picking on Pete Hegseth because they don't like what he's talking about. This DEI, get rid of it. All the different things, get rid of it. What's he want to focus on? He wants to make the military the most fierce fighting force on the planet, which is all wrong for these people and their fifis. You telling me you guys are going to come out here and be ready to like CILL? Yeah, CILL. If you guys remember Eddie Murphy back in the day. We want to be the best CILLers, killers. We want people to know if we deploy, we're coming to kick some butt. We're not coming here to, negotiate. By the time you see us on the ground, well, hopefully not on the ground anymore, but by the time you see us, it's too late. The only thing we need to hear from you is, we're sorry, we ain't going to do it anymore, and here's a white flag. That's what we want in military. Now let's go to the 10.
Here's the big finish. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
Do you think preemptive pardons are necessary for people like yourself, other folks that Dr. Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff, Liz Cheney, that could be targeted by a Kash Patel-led FBI?
I mean, it's certainly something to consider. I guess my question is, I have not done anything wrong. I know that. And I know that many of us who have just spoken the truth, all we're
Hasn't like every criminal ever said that? I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't me.
Doing is speaking the truth. But in today's environment, in terms of what's to come under the Trump administration, I think that's something that we're all thinking about and wondering what's to come. And I think I am a prime example of what's to come when I've already gotten a threatening letter by someone like Kash Patel, who we know is a loyalist and a henchman for Donald Trump.
All right.
Loyalist, again, that's a bad word. So the reason they're going on the media is they're trying to gain favor with the American public. And it's not working. Because as I've seen here and everything that you guys have said, if you didn't do anything yet, nothing to worry about. If you got a cease and desist from Kash Patel already, then hopefully you've ceased and desisted. Game over. You don't have to worry about anything. That's not threatening you or hurting you. Hey, listen, I saw what you did. Knock it off. Or this is going to happen. So you can choose. If you didn't do anything wrong, you can you can non-cease and non-desist. Go for it.
Number 9.
I decided to allow the president-elect's continued use of YMCA because he seems to genuinely like the song.
So this is the lead singer of the Village People who wrote the song. No, he didn't write it. One of the other guys wrote it. He's a singer of YMCA. And as you know, many musicians have said cease and desist from using our music at Trump rallies and certain things like that. And they tried to get him and the rest of his living members of the Village People to do the same thing. Hey man, don't let him play your music. And the guy from the Village People goes, you know we're getting millions, right? People are downloading our music. They're on Apple and they're downloading it. We're making millions. We haven't been relevant in like years. I want you to think how much money Lee Greenwood has made. And so this guy's like, nah, man, play it.
So many other artists were stopping him from using their music. So I decided to contact BMI and told them not to terminate his political use license because he seemed to be bringing so much joy to the American people.
Somebody just said in the chat here that he did write it. Okay, great. I thought it was another band member that wrote it. And Jay Smith said, nope, he actually did write it. Well, I stand corrected. And but this is the guy, absolutely.
With his use of YMCA.
Number 8.
I wouldn't poo-poo this illegal immigration issue. I think people are very upset about it.
I'm not doing that. Just to be clear, I'm not doing that. I was just saying that the issue for Eric Adams that is very important is his legal fate. That's
but his most serious governing issue is that there's roughly 760,000 illegal immigrants living in New York City, and almost 60,000 of them have criminal charges or are convicted criminals. If I were the mayor of New York City, whether I had my own personal political problems or not, I would be desperate to work with the President of the United States to clean up what's going on. Earlier this year, there was a police report.
If you guys, last night I played it, or Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, said that he's going to work with the Trump administration and Tom Homan to get rid of newcomers that are problems. And people are freaking out. And it doesn't make any sense. If they're causing problems, why should you let them stay? They should be at the top of the list in terms of, hey, we need to look at these people and everything else because here's what they're doing. They're beating up cops. They're doing all these crazy things. Wait, they need to go. Regardless if Mayor Adams is facing his own legal issues, and now they're trying to say, oh, the reason why he's working with Trump, he wants a pardon from Trump so that, they can't come after him. He won't need a pardon from Trump, you freaking morons. Let me explain something to you. When Trump takes office, Pam Bondi is going to be the Attorney General. There's nothing to pardon him from because he'll just stop the investigation. It just goes away. Yeah, if somebody won in 2028, they could re-go after him again, but that would be stupid at that point. But that's what a lot of liberals don't understand. Everybody doesn't need pardons. Some people just need to have investigations started, and some people need to have investigations go away. It's very simple. So right now, Mayor Adams and they're trying to do different things. They can just dismiss the case. Hey, Your Honor, we're not doing it. We're not going any further. Dismissed. No pardon needed. The case goes away, morons in the media.
That 3/4 of the people being arrested in Midtown were for violent crimes and attacks on the street were illegal immigrants. This is a local governance problem. My assumption is, I don't live here, I'm here a lot, that the people of New York City are hopping mad about it. And whether Eric Adams is using this to get political favor with Trump, I don't know. But my God, you're the mayor. Somebody needs to do something.
I think it's two different. Number 7.
I've known Pete for a long time. I served with him in Afghanistan. The people over there said no.
This guy, the slimy of slimy. I don't know what you people in South Carolina have done, but this guy is dirty. He'll go on Hannity, and he has no problem looking in the camera and saying, I got no problem with him. You know, he's fine. And we get news. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, it seems as though Lindsay and Joni Ernst are the two that are causing problems on the left. Oh, here it is. This is from Charlie Kirk. I'm being told that Joni Ernst and Lindsey Graham are trying to end Pete Hegseth. This is a direct attempt to undermine the president and his voters. Pete Hegseth is the red line. If you vote against him, primaries will ensue. I don't know who Lindsey Graham is getting buttered by, but the guy, in my estimation, is slimy. He always seems to find a way to do what is best for Lindsey, not for America, definitely not for South Carolina. And I think his time is due. I think if you go ahead and not confirm Pete Hegseth, you're going to have hell to pay.
Nothing but great things about him. The allegations against Pete are all anonymous sources. I am not going to make any decision based on an anonymous source. If you're not willing to raise your hand under oath and make the accusation, it doesn't count.
Wrong answer. Wrong answer. You don't have to worry about investigations or allegations. Your answer on, I think this was Hannity, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm confirming him. Period. Zippo. That's what the people want. That's what they voted for Trump. Forget everything else. That's it. That was your answer, Lindsay. Now, I'm going to wait and do the investigation, and I'm not going to let that sway my vote. Nothing should sway your vote. People in South Carolina, get on the phone. Get on the phone and tell Lindsay. Nothing. We don't want to hear it from you. You just want me to do a rubber stamp? Yes, I don't care. The man won in a landslide. Get his picks in. Do not even think for an instant that you have the luxury of deciding whether or not Pete Hegseth should be confirmed. That's if Trump does the confirmation route. See, Trump may just be sniffing out the bad guys right now to see what's going on.
I've heard everything about all these people. None of it counts. No rumors, no innuendo.
But you were there for the Kavanaugh hearings.
I've seen this movie before.
I've seen the movie, maybe your finest moment in the U.S. Senate, because you got pissed off because the stories kept changing, more evidence came out, and it was clear to me that we weren't getting told the truth the whole time.
Well, it was a bunch of anonymous sources, and the people that did come forward, it made no sense. They were trying to destroy Judge Kavanaugh's life.
Now understand. Boeing, guess where Boeing's headquartered? Anybody want to guess where Boeing is headquartered right now? Or maybe not headquartered, but they got a big plant in South Carolina. Lockheed Martin, I think Boeing's in Seattle, but they have a big plant in South Carolina. And Lockheed Martin are some of the biggest donors to the senators opposing Pete Hegseth. So, Lindsay, Joni, some of you other ones, it's all about the money here. Again, that back channel door that they're going back and forth in, that's pretty scary.
6.
Pete is a great candidate. Here's how I respect people that put on the uniform and led troops at war. He went to Iraq. He went to Afghanistan. He knows people that died. He knows people that were injured. He got out. He's fought for veterans since he got out. These are anonymous accusations. If these people are credible, Jake, ask him to come on your show. Ask him to come on and explain these things. Pete did an op-ed. He's explained this. I've talked to him about it. I've met with him. I've known him. It's disgusting to me exactly what's going on. These people are trying to disparage somebody that has. Did they go serve? No. Did they put their life on the line? No. This is ridiculous what these people are doing. So he's a great nominee. He'll do a great job.
So just to let you guys, a couple of you guys know, because I'm sure people are like, Barry, what do you mean Boeing in South Carolina? This is Boeing, South Carolina. And they've got a big plant in South Carolina. Our story, the Boeing, South Carolina is the home of the 787 Dreamliner, where the full cycle of 787 Dreamliner production happens. From freezer to flight, our teammates fabricate, assemble, and deliver the 787-8, the 787-9, and the 787-10 to customers all over the world. Boeing, South Carolina is home to Boeing Research and Technology, more than 300 suppliers across the state. Boeing invests $100 million, and it just goes on and on. So if you didn't know that Boeing has a huge investment in South Carolina, where Lindsey Graham happens to be the senator from, that's the kind of information you need to look up. Why would Lindsey even be hedging? What does he have, or what problem could there be in terms of Boeing and the military? What's the next contract? Does Trump and Pete not want to buy certain planes or engines? Are they going to change focus? They're going to look at some. Lot of wires here, lot of crossed wires here, and this is what people are seeing.
5.
Okay, it doesn't sound on your answer that you've gotten to a yes. If I'm wrong about that, correct me. And if that is the case, it sounds to me as if the hearing will be critical for his nomination. Am I right about that?
I think you are right. I think for a number of our senators, they want to make sure that any allegations have been cleared.
So what you're saying is the mere fact that an allegation has been put out there, you now want to drag all this stuff through a hearing. And you're still not there because you're not really sure. Yet you're trying to put your hat in the ring as a possible defense secretary. And you're taking money from Lockheed Martin. And you didn't have these same problems when you voted in all the people that Biden wanted. Lloyd Austin, no problem. The guy who walks around and steals suitcases and wears dresses, no problem. The guys in the military who wore the dog faces in their pictures, no problems. But this guy you have a problem with? Something ain't right, Joni. Something ain't right whatsoever.
And that's why we have to have a very thorough vetting process. And that's why I was happy to sit down with Pete and have that conversation with him yesterday. So again, all I will say at this time is that we did have a very thorough discussion.
That's all she'll say at this time. So you're not willing to come out and saying you're going to vote for Donald Trump's appointees, his nominees. You still want this dog and pony show to happen.
Over a number of those issues, and the vetting will continue, I am certain, through the next month or so until we approach that hearing date.
And he has some
piece of crap. If you are an Iowan, get on the phone. Start making the text. No deals. You have to vote him in. Period. No, we don't want to hear it. You either vote him in, Lindsey. You either vote him in, Joni. I heard John Cornyn from Texas says he's not looking to vote him in. These people are gonzo. As soon as they're up for next election, they need to be gone. But I don't want to wait until then. I know Trump doesn't want to sit on his butt for 2 years and go, okay, what are we going to do here? We can't get anything done. They're trying to paralyze him.
4. I think this nomination is doomed. All right. I would be very surprised
if we're still talking about Pete Hegseth next Monday, even by the end of the week.
So by the end of the week, he thinks Pete's going to be done. That's what he just said. And if you don't know Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, where I'm from, this is the guy who lied about fighting in Vietnam. This is the guy who had stolen valor, passing judgment on an actual soldier.
I've talked to 5 to 10 Republicans who have said to me they're just waiting for the right moment to say no to Pete Hegseth.
Number 3.
So there are senators that are trying to get him to withdraw himself from the process. You take great umbrage with that. Why?
I take great umbrage with that. I want to be clear, Lawrence, that any criticism I might have for a Republican senator on their failure to cut government waste and spending in the past is actually separate from their attempts to perhaps take Pete Hegseth down as DOD. Both separately are worthy of my criticism. Let's talk about this for just a moment. Any Republican senator who wakes up this morning and is looking at Fox and Friends, or a president who has made a nomination, probably needs to consider 3 options when it comes to why they wouldn't support Pete Hegseth as their nominee. Number 1, they choose to accept and choose to align themselves on the side of anonymous reporters at NBC News or the New Yorker or the New York Times, and in my estimation, put that of higher value than Medal of Honor recipients, David Bellavia, who stands by the character of Pete Hegseth, literally dozens of Fox News employees who do not say things anonymously but with their chest on air or on X to say the character of Pete Hegseth. Or
Can you just imagine if someone told your husband or your wife with an anonymous letter shows up in the mailbox and says, hey, I heard Fred or Buffy were out there fooling around. What is this? What? There's no picture. There's no signature. There's no, hey, give me a call, I'll let you know. That's how our government is working right now. Some people somewhere said he was drinking and that he has been abusive with women. Some people don't know who they are. Just the mere fact that people are putting these things out there. Our entire government is being held hostage by the media. These people have not come forward. There is no face behind it. And they're allowing this to happen. They do it all the time. You've seen it. This isn't real. This is BS. This is a show. And until we can get past that, which is why I think he has to do the recess appointments, we have got to get rid of people who want to play games, who want to posture and get their 5 minutes up on a stand and question somebody. Tonight, when you hear the interview with the FBI agent who spoke in Congress, he'll tell you how those things actually happen. You'll be gobsmacked. You won't believe how those congressional hearings really are versus how they appear on television. It is a true dog and pony show.
they're so embedded in the military-industrial complex that they never want to see change or disruption to the Pentagon. It's one of those three options for any Republican senator. I doubt that Donald Trump likes any of those potential answers for a Republican who is now standing in the way. Perhaps, perhaps not. Perhaps we now have all of them in support of Pete Hegseth.
And he's one of your...
Number 2.
Will you be meeting with Trump soon? Will you be meeting with Trump this week?
Anytime he wants a meeting, we'll have a meeting.
What do you make of the rumors that DeSantis and others might be considered?
Spoke to Trump this morning, a few minutes ago. Support this morning.
How are the meetings going?
Great.
How did the meeting with Ernst go?
It was constructive, candid.
Did she bring up the allegations?
Sorry, man. I apologize. I'm not going to talk about private conversation.
Did she bring up women in the military? Women serving in the military? You said that you've never backed down. If Trump asked you to step back, would you?
Well, I'm here because of Donald Trump. If he didn't want me to be here, then I wouldn't be.
Great line. I don't know if you could hear it all, but the last line was probably the most important. You know, would you step down if Donald Trump asked you to step down? And Pete looks the woman, turns and looks at her and goes, I'm only here because of him. If he didn't want me here, I wouldn't be here. So that tells you. That should be reported on the 6 o'clock news, wherever. Hey, would you step down? Of course I would. The only reason I'm going through this crap is because Trump told me to do it. You think I'm just posturing? You think I'm just walking through these halls, meeting these people, dragging my wife along with me because, I just want to do it? No. No, Trump told me to do it. That's why I'm here. He posted this earlier, Pete did. Maybe it's time for a Secretary of Defense who has led in combat, been on patrol for days, pull the trigger. Think how simple of that. Someone who's actually pulled a trigger. Heard bullets whiz by, called in close air support, led medevacs, dodged IEDs, and understands to his core the power of this photo because he's been there on that knee before. And you know what that picture is. I looked at that and went, he's letting you know that these other people you have talked about haven't been where I've been. It's amazing. It's disgusting. And we have to have him. No turning back. This hill we have to conquer. We can't let them win. So whatever you need to do, Texas, South Carolina, Iowa, get on the phone. You got work to do. I'd help you, but I'm here in Florida, and our senators are all on board. So you just saw Rick Scott, and of course Mark Rubio is going to be in the cabinet. So both of our two senators are yes. If you don't know how your senator is looking to vote, you need to find out. And then if it's, I'm not sure yet, then you need to be all over them every single day. Dial the numbers, send the emails, send the text, hit them up on X, bam, 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 and let them know, we didn't vote in these people for you to be hemming and hawing. We understand that he's taking a wrecking ball to things. That's specifically why he was elected. He wasn't elected to make nice and play the game. He was elected to destroy, quote, obliterate the deep state. Not make nice with it. Not try to figure a way to work with them or extend the olive branch. No. We all heard him say it. I am going to obliterate the deep state. I'm going to have to put that on a button so you guys can hear it. And remind you. And then remind your other friends and family members that what you're seeing here is not what we want. We voted for somebody in this time, not about policy. There wasn't much policy that Trump was running on. Yeah, we want to pay less taxes. Yeah, we want to see, deportations. But the big thing that we want was him to get in there, use that wrecking ball, and come in and tear it down. And we want people committed to tearing it down. Because otherwise, you get this.
Number 1.
Of people, goods and services, but will also promote shared prosperity and inclusive growth across the region. Internal consultations aiming at aligning this project with national priorities and other bilateral and regional commitments.
Look at this.
In closing, allow me to reiterate Tanzania's commitment to regional integration and shared prosperity.
How weak
we
that
note
is.
the progress made on the development of the Lobito corridor and commend the visionary leadership that has brought this initiative.
It's an embarrassment. America has been embarrassed on the national stage enough. That's my dog. This guy goes over to Africa for whatever reason, and he can't even stay awake. He can't even stay awake. And we're even having a discussion here about who we should vote in and not vote in and nominate. This has to be done with. The entirety of this embarrassment needs to be wiped from America.
To life. And it is through such partnerships and innovations that Africa's Agenda 2063 will be realized. I thank you.
We're done. We are completely done at this point. Excuse my language. Had to yell at the doggy for a second there. But aren't you done? Aren't you over America being laughed at? Aren't you done with Biden falling asleep at meetings and doing stupid things and going into countries and just crazy stuff happening? Aren't you done seeing our defense being run with DEI and all this crap? Aren't you? I mean, seriously. So this should be a no-brainer for every single Republican senator. You have to do. Told you it was going to take more. You got to do more. You got to fight. You got to keep going. And if you need help, let other people know. Oh wow, what if he fell off his chair? Nobody would have cared. Yeah, Barry, wouldn't it be much simpler for Trump to call recess appointments over America calling? It would be. It would be. The speaker should call him out. Absolutely. 6 more weeks of this stuff. Didn't sleep for 3 days. Man. Actively pardoning people. You believe that this guy's actually doing the work? I think it's Jill. I am so done with this. Yeah, oh God, it's crazy. Those seeking pardons should be the first investigated. I completely agree with you. All right, so before I leave today, please understand, 7:30 only on Rumble. Not going to risk it on YouTube. Great interview. I mean, these interviews that Ashley's setting up, where she's getting these people who actually want to talk. And it's amazing because when you see people on television, they get 3 or 4 minutes here and nobody really wants to dig in. And it's not like I'm digging in. I'm not being some probative investigator. I'm just asking questions that probably you would want to know. And I'm like, so what happens here? So what happened there? And they're like, hey, and I tell them all, if there's something you don't like, I can hit stop and we can delete it and we can just keep going. And just to let you know, that's why I'm doing pre-records first. I pre-record the first interview and let them know this is how we're going to do. This is how I'm going to ask questions. If I ask something that you don't like, just tell me, Barry, can you cut that? Okay, we'll cut that out the edit. Nobody said cut anything. No, just telling you right now, nobody has said cut anything. Then I say, after I get it the whole edit and get the sound and everything correct, what I'm going to do is send you a link and I need you to approve it before I post it. Last 2 people, don't even bother. Just go. I'm like, okay. And then I say, if people respond, I'd like you to come on and speak to people live and take their questions, which nobody's doing. Not Patrick Bet David, not Benny, nobody. Nobody is letting you speak to these people. Now, again, I have to bring the comments in and show it to them, but that's where we're really going to make a difference because the return visit would be Zach Apotheker coming on and letting you guys ask him questions live. That's going to be awesome. So tonight, you have I think it's going to be a great interview. Go have dinner. Come on back. Grab your dessert. Sit back and watch your jaw drop. If you thought Zach's interview was good, you're going to love this one. You're going to love this with the FBI whistleblower. It's amazing. That being said, it's gonna be awesome. If you guys would like to join our X group, it's free, and just go ahead and go to fanfareshop.org/group, and you'll join. I think we're at almost at 11.5. And then, like last night, tonight we will also give away 3 hoodies. So go to fanfareshop.org and you can register to win a hoodie. I'm seeing some questions. It says 7:30 tonight on Rumble. Yes, 7:30 tonight on Rumble. And so if you haven't watched these interviews so far, what they are is I have pre-recorded the interview, and then I'm doing a live show. And so what I'll do is I'll come on and say, hey, you see that? What do you see? I understand. And I take comments, and then we keep going. It's very seamless. I'm not breaking it up a lot. Letting these people go, let them say, and letting them talk. And you guys have been liking it. I mean, I think the last one on Rumble, just so you know, I think I only have like 7,000 subscribers over there. And we did almost 80,000 views. So thank you. It means you people are spreading it. So these are things I can't even do here on YouTube, because if YouTube heard some of the stuff I was saying and what we were talking about, no doubt the hammer would come down, and that's going to happen. All right, so let me go ahead and do the super chats. And hold on, let me just look at this. I got to make sure everything is ready to go. Okay, here we go. Dennis Pope. All I know, I trust Trump. When all said and done, he will have what he needs to get the job done. I hope so. Sherry Clem. Thank you, Barry. I think at this point, certain persons could seriously be on the verge of being called out as unlawful combatants. I believe so, too. I definitely believe that. Nana's Crochet Corner. It is a stretch to believe that Biden will sell pardons to the highest payers. No money, no honey. And if so, people will roll on old Joe. I think there's a lot of people watching to see what happens, too. That could be interesting. Thank you, Joanne Silver. Joanne Silver again, thank you very much. Donna. Hi, Donna. Haven't seen you in a while. Donna says they think it hides their guilt by saying Trump is going after them rather than bring them to justice. Remember the whole time when they were going after Trump and they were saying, oh, he's done all these things. And like, what things? And sure enough, should we call Biden the Dolly Parton? I like that. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Bitcoin 103, people are saying. Yeah, it just keeps going up. When I have the interview with the Bitcoin guy, which is a little bit different, it's not really an exposure, but he talks about where you should buy, how you should hold it. Somebody mentioned that they got their money got stolen, so that's something you're going to want to hear. Dave Vila, great job, Barry. How much do you think Crooked Joe should start charging per pardon? I don't, he's going to have to be very careful. Very, very careful. Again, I want to see what he's going to do about himself. What's this? Good afternoon. This is from Tommy. Good afternoon, Mr. Barry. Is there going to be an investigation about the yayo that was found in the White House? Who will investigate it? At this point, I think that yayo is probably small potatoes. I mean, they may ask Hunter about it, but if he says, I don't know, it's going to be hard to find out. Joy, Kirkland, ridiculous. Bottom line, if you haven't done anything wrong and have nothing to hide, no pardon needed, period. Go cash and go Bondi. Absolutely, that's what I believe. Dale Killinger, thank you very much. Please use for the Bibles. Yes, Ashley sent out, I believe, another 20 or 30 Bibles yesterday, so thank you very much. Peter Ulrich, are we going to hand out I got pardon stickers to everyone in the Biden administration? Just watch what happens. I mean, we got basically, 30-something days, 40 days, and until January 20th. Maybe he'll do them all on January 19th. Who knows? From Canada, William Flanagan. Can you get a pardon for future crimes? No. Unless something's changed, you cannot get a pardon for future crimes. So, when Hunter now has been pardoned, he better be a good boy. Oh, he better be very good. Which, I don't know how he kicked his habit, if he's kicked his habit, but at this point, he better do everything by the book. I'm telling you, his taxes, everything. I hope he's off the stuff. He better be off of it, otherwise he's in trouble. FL, I hope the prayer meeting is still on for tonight. No, we don't have a prayer meeting tonight. It'll be next Thursday. Both pastors will be available next week. CR, they all want a pardon. Biden's pardon list will be as long as Santa's list. Rolls and rolls of paper. I can't even imagine. William Flanagan from Canada again. The one who doesn't get a pardon will sing like a canary. Yep, exactly. Hello, Carol. Thank you very much. I appreciate all you do, Barry. Thank you very much, Carol. I appreciate that what you did. William Flanagan again from Canada. I was just following orders was the excuse of the guys in Germany. Yep, absolutely. H12, after 34 count BS for Trump, I'm not sympathetic. Nope. I think there's going to be a lot of people like, hey, yeah, he had to go through it, and state after state after state. So, your turn. Any day now, since you mentioned it, any day now, you're going to see extreme screaming and wailing when they can no longer say he's a 34 count convicted felon. That's imminent. It's not an if. That will be happening very soon. Any minute. Any minute, any day, Merchant is probably going to go, we're done. Dismissed. And then they can never say it. Now, anytime you say it, that's defamation. He's no longer convicted. Well, he's really not convicted now, but yeah, he won't be able to say it anymore. Good luck with that. Michael Nays, Trump needs to prove the theft of the 2020 election. Pardons off the tables then. Absolutely. I don't know if he's going to go back, though. I don't know if people want that. I think that's why they need pardons. Think about that for a second. The pardons that probably are coming are going to be related to that. Watch how they're worded. If you start seeing pardons for, I don't know, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Adam Schiff, certain people in Fulton County, certain people, in Arizona, Katie Hobbs. If you start seeing stuff, well, why did Katie Hobbs in Arizona need one? Why did so-and-so here? And it goes back to, 2019. Then you're going to know. Then we will know. From the anthill, okay. All after 30. Ironically, the deep state already knows what crimes those needing pardon have committed. Absolutely. I believe that fully. Let's see. Where am I here? Grandma Lynn, your first visit. Subscribe, you won't be disappointed. Thank you very much. And Eric Parks, everyone remember that Chinese Communist Party are the ones who fear him, and we, the people. I agree that as well. Let me just go back here to the beginning. Mama Mima, there's no extradition treaty with Africa. Interesting. That's why he gave them $1 billion so that whoever has to go to Africa will be taken care of. Maybe. Joe Biden, they have to make an example a lot of somebody. Schiff, Pelosi, doesn't matter. More than an example, they have to actually convict them, put them away. And those people don't want to go to jail. You can look at Adam Schiff and go, this ain't the type of guy who's going to take this well. Chirpity chirp, chirp, chirp. Here's a message for LG and the rest of the rhinos. No secret votes. Note on confirmations. Put a rhinos list to start campaigning against them. LG, he's referring to, obviously, Lindsey Graham. Done with you guys. Done. Do what you need to do. Gotta get Pete Hegseth confirmed. But I still think recess appointments are the way to go. All right, so 7:30 tonight on Rumble. I'll post it in the group, so if you can see the link, I'll get that up there real soon. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I think I used everything. Yeah, the sweat hoodies are tonight. All right, talk to you.